The following reading will be from Berkeley.edu, Pesticides and Organic Produce. Organic produce has become increasingly popular in recent years as consumers have grown more health conscious and environmentally aware. Many stores and supermarkets now have large sections devoted to organic fruits and vegetables. What makes produce organic? Contrary to what most people believe, contrary to what most people believe, contrary to what most people believe, organic in quotation marks does not automatically mean pesticide free or chemical free. In fact, under the laws of most states, organic farmers are allowed to use a wide variety of chemical sprays and powders on their crops, even your kale. So, what does organic mean? It means that these pesticides, if used, in which you don't know if they are used or not, but they have the choice to, must be derived from natural sources, not synthetic. Also, these pesticides must be applied using equipment that has not been used to apply any synthetic materials for the past 3 years. And the land being planted cannot have been treated with synthetic materials for that period either. Most organic farmers, and even some conventional farmers too, employ mechanical and cultural tools to help control pests. Pests like stink bugs that are from Asia that was brought over here to, try to control crops as well, but they ended up becoming a pest, like stuff like that. These include insect traps, careful crop selection. There are a growing number of disease resistant varieties too, and biological controls such as predator insects and beneficial microorganisms. Organic produce and personal health. When you test synthetic chemicals for the ability to cause cancer, you find that about half of them are carcinogenic. Until recently, nobody bothered to look at natural chemicals such as organic pesticides because it was assumed that they posed little risk. But when the studies were done, the results were somewhat shocking. You find that about half of the natural chemicals studied are carcinogenic as well. Shout out to kale. This is a case where everyone, consumers, farmers, researchers, made the same dangerous mistake. We all assume that natural chemicals were automatically better and safer than synthetic materials, and we were so wrong. It's important we be more prudent in our acceptance of quote unquote natural as being innocuous and harmless, because poison ivy is natural. Organic pesticides versus synthetic pesticides. Clearly, the less we impact our environment, the better off we are. Organic farming practices have greatly advanced the use of non chemical means to control pests, like rats. As mentioned earlier, unfortunately, these non chemical methods do not always provide enough protection, and it's necessary to use chemical pesticides. Just like if you live in the hood, people don't like using peppermint spray oil mixed with water. They like to use Raid. So it's something similar to that effect. How do organic pesticides compare with conventional pesticides? A recent study compared the effectiveness of rotenone pyrethrin mixture versus a synthetic pesticide, amidid, amidan. Amidan being M, or excuse me, IMIDAN, amidan, which is the synthetic pesticide. Rotenone being ROTENONE, and pyrethrin are two common organic pesticides. Imidine is considered a soft synthetic pesticide, i.e., designed to have a brief lifetime after application, and other traits that minimize unwanted effects. And when they say minimize unwanted effects, they mean on you and your children. It was found that up to 7 applications of rotenone pyrethrin mixture, which is an organic pesticide that can be used on organic produce, were required to obtain the level of protection provided by 2 applications of the synthetic pesticide amidine. It seems unlikely that 7 applications of rotenone and pyrethrin are really better for the environment than 2 applications of amidine, especially when rotenone is extremely toxic to fish and other aquatic life. It should be noted, however, that we don't know for certain which system is more harmful. This is because we do not look at organic pesticides the same way we look at conventional, aka synthetic pesticides. We don't know how long these organic pesticides persist in the environment or the full extent on, you know, our health and the effects of that. When you look at lists of pesticides allowed in organic agriculture, you find warnings such as use with caution. The toxicological effects of organic pesticide X are largely unknown, in quotation, or beginning of quotation, it's persistent in the soil, unknown, quotation. Again, researchers haven't bothered to study the effects of organic pesticides because it is assumed that natural, in quotation marks, chemicals are automatically safe. Shout out to the vegans. Why haven't we heard this before? For obvious reasons. Organic farmers have done little, if anything, to dispel the myth organic equal chemical slash pesticide free, in quotation. They would only stand to lose business by making such a disclosure, which is why I be saying everything is a business when it comes to the United States. because they're a business, corporation. Pesticide manufacturers have little concern in the matter. To them, in quotations, synthetic pesticides sold, in quotation, and beginning of quotation, organic pesticides sold, in quotation, are both, beginning of quotation, pesticides sold, in quotation. As for conventional farmers, they are not really in a position to be critical. It would not be in their interest to draw attention to chemical and pesticide use. Now, would it? What does all this mean? The purpose in writing this article is not to discourage you from buying organic produce. It is only meant to let you know instead of believing, to let you know instead of believing, and to let you know instead of believing what you are or aren't getting when you make such a purchase. Unless you know you're the grower, or unless you know the grower personally, i.e. your farmer, there is no guarantee that your produce has been grown without pesticides, or if it was with were government improved organic chemicals. It's a point to consider. Given the substantially higher cost of organic food, there are many choices and decisions that we as consumers, not me, y'all look up that word consumers in the Black Laws Dictionary, are asked to make. Hopefully, this has provided some new information that you will find helpful.